Hey guys, and welcome back to Rage Gaming and more Shadow of the Erdtree discussion. With there being just a few weeks left to the launch, I wanted to talk about some of the new information we've had since the story trailer dropped. Irregularly, From Software are dropping these new images to look at, details we've simply not seen before, and even some new info to go with it. Further, there's been some kind of press or creator event that's happened, of which we don't really know anything about. We just heard these rumors they've invited people to something. Was it a play session or just a showcase? We can only guess, at least as I make this video. A creator that I've watched for eons, Ouroboros, clearly teased that he's seen or maybe even played the DLC in some form. I would assume he'd be invited, if anyone, if it was held in NA, and obviously they're held under heavy NDA. So we've no idea when we're going to hear about whatever it was that actually happened. That info could drop at any time though, maybe even in between the time I made this video, so maybe check Ouro's Twitter. In any case, we have new info, we expect more soon. There's a lot of great catches and details from the community. Let's just get into it. Starting with the big one, the main knight that has been semi-revealed. Via the official Elden Ring Twitter, we have this image of a knight holding a previously unseen sword, just slightly covering their face. Understandably, you could jump to a conclusion that that's Miquella, but it certainly isn't. This is the knight who appears to touch the golden traces of Miquella, one of those new graces we currently know as the Steps of Miquella, and there's a female voice that voices the story trailer. We can now see that it's the same knight. It has the same long white cape and the very same helmet that was previously worn in all the different gameplay trailer bits and story. In fact, every NPC shown in that group shot is also in the gameplay trailer, shown at different sections. There's a lot to take in with that image though. Firstly, the line with this tweet is, "Will you walk with us?" heavily hinting that the voiceover for the story trailer is the same person that's shown in this image. The white blonde hair has familiar Miquella braids in it, which wrap around the head like a crown. This is shown with the Knights of Miquella that we find in the normal game, the Erdtree. They have these helmets with a similar braid around it. Miquella has this strange ability to instill love in his followers, a kind of manipulation where maybe they're happy to serve, but it's still manipulation. There's a lot of conversation, especially now, around Miquella and now this new knight character and the comparisons to Griffith. Griffith is a rather important character in the Berserk series, which has inspired a lot throughout all of From Software games. A white-haired warrior that draws others to his own goals, using them for his purposes, even if they die. Miquella is often referred to as kind or kindly Miquella, and is worshipped in many ways. The idea that they're beloved and do a lot of great things but then turn on their followers. There's a lot of comparisons you could make between these two characters, and now people like the look of this knight and are saying the same. And the way that Miquella is described as like a perfect being all the time, it wouldn't be that big of a surprise if he were to betray us. So whatever Miquella's purpose really is, I think this knight is trying to serve it. I don't think this knight is like Griffith or whatever. When we stop and look at the helmet though, this is interesting. Not only does it remind me of the Dark Souls 2 cover armor, the Fearsome set, but when we stop and look at the knights shown in the Golden Order Purge of the Land of Shadow, we see how they have similar golden helmets with intricate designs. The design is clearly different though. The Golden Order knights have this golden engraved kind of tree, referencing the golden Erdtree, but this knight that serves Miquella, the design is different. Rather than being a tree, it's almost like random nature blooming outwards. At least that's what I see. Miquella's rune is of abundance. Bursting life that's blooming out like this, it feels right. So there's obviously comparisons or inspirations there, but I also think important differences are shown too. Next we have the sword. It's entirely new, which surprises me because I figured this was the unnamed Miquella Knight from the original game. If you're unaware, there's a hidden sword called the Miquella's Knight Sword, and here's the description. A sword forged by the servants of Miquella of the Erdtree, with a design modelled after those carried by carrion knights. Instead of glintstone though, we have amber from the Erdtree that's embedded in the blade. A sumptuous piece, yet it has never been offered to any knight. An ill-starred sword with no master. I think this sword could have, or maybe was meant to be offered to the knight we see in this image. Obviously the one they have now is similar but different. It has the kind of amber theme to it, but it is noticeably different all the same. In any case, it highlights an important topic, that Radogan presented Miquella, his son, with former carrion knights, or knights that were designed with the carrion knights in mind. The Golden Order is a faith-based group where the carrion royalty, they were intelligence-based. Miquella, following Radogan's different creations, did create his own incantations for a while that required a mix of faith and intelligence. His knights then would surely be the same, a mix of faith and magic, a kind of new breed of carrion knight. That's what I expect from this knight then, a mix of intelligence and faith-based stuff. Further, we have something really interesting to look back at, thanks and credit to Sekiro Dubi for this theory and these images. Sekiro Dubi is a known data miner in the community and noticed how there was a class choice in the pre-release network test. You could choose to be a magical knight that was called the Enchanted Knight. In that, you'd wear the Carrion Knight set, but if you actually stopped and took the helmet off and looked at the character, an interesting face was revealed. One with golden white hair, the classic Miquella braid, and magic and swords as a theme. As Sekiro Dubi highlights, this looks like a prototype version of the Miquella Knight we see today in the trailers and this image. If that's true, it could be the case that she was indeed a former Carrion Knight gifted to Miquella by Radogan, or inspired by this new magic, intelligence / faith design of the upper knights of Miquella. Either way, it's a fantastic spot by Dubi and really interesting to consider with this knight in mind. Next, the group that we see, the one that we're asked to join. Are they all united in one purpose? If this Miquella Knight fits the bill, this monk fighter doesn't. And then you've got the rest that are standing further back, separate, that are not showing the same reverence as the front two. The one that seems to guide us into the cocoon, shown at the start of the gameplay trailer, is also standing far at the back, in her black kind of robe or whatever. The website key features description does reveal more about this. Guided by Empyrean Miquella, players are beckoned to the land of Shadow, a place obscured by the Erdtree where the goddess Marika first set foot. In these strange new lands, players discover the dark secrets of the world as they meet others who follow in Miquella's footsteps with ulterior motives. So as I highlighted originally or last time, some of these NPCs aren't there to help Miquella. They're there for their own purposes. Potentially, some of them pretending to join this group so they can just get access to the location to do whatever they want to. I think their stories then are going to be interesting side pieces for the DLC. Moving on, here's just a couple different topics. First, we have this neat catch about the new graces, and then the scythe design of various followers of Miquella. Credit to Magikarp Sushi on the Reddit for this one. But yeah, look at this, spot on. The Albinaurics aren't the only ones to wield weapons of this design. Generally, those associated with Miquella, you do see these scythes. In short though, the Albinaurics are drawn to Miquella because their need of protection and general help. He represents that. We find them all over the world, in multiple places we know to be tied to Miquella in one way or another. Even the Mohgwyn Palace, where they're turned into the horrible blood versions. Miquella's body is in that cocoon, maybe that's why they're even there. The next topic is just a new image from the Elden Ring team on Twitter again, much like the Miquella Knight image. This time though, we just see that broken and destroyed area shown in the gameplay trailer. It's got this weird shadow looming over it from the tree, the buildings are kind of being sucked and crumbling away, disintegrating to pieces. We now know this area to be the location of a city or a town that was purged by the Golden Order during that story cinematic. Again, I believe that to be the purge of the Crucible Order. The result of that heretical purge, though, is absolute destruction that reminds me quite a lot of Farum Azula. The Golden Order seems to have their own way to salt the earth of their enemies, to prevent anything new growing there kind of thing. This heretical purge must have had some way to leave what remains in this state, breaking away, floating into nothing, again like Farum Azula. Sadly, there's not new information revealed in this tweet, anything beyond the image, but it's cool to look at and think about. Finally, the last topic for this video. There was also this interesting image of what appears to be a kind of beast that we've not necessarily seen before. The Crucible Beast is shown in both trailers, and now this image looks familiar to that. The Crucible Beast, though, is a giant combined form of different animals and even humans. We see those as a big boss fight in the gameplay trailer, so there's definitely going to be one left to face in the DLC. But we did see multiple in the story trailer. There's one facing off against Messmer, who seems to easily defeat it, and then there's 3 in the background of that big shot where we see Messmer impaling tons of people, and yeah, 3 of those Crucible Beasts. It gives you a good indicator of just how strong Messmer really is. This new image then, I think, is actually a different kind of beast. It's wearing a mask to cover its face, so we can't quite see what's going on there, but it does have these horns that remind me of the Omen creations. The Omen are like cursed children, shunned by their families like Morgott and Mohg, but this one's definitely different. The quote from the tweet is this: "Fearsome foes of unfathomable power await you in the realm of Shadow." It also wields 2 strange circular blades and steps out from, yeah, a dark shadow. I'm thinking this is some kind of omen that we don't know about. Who's the parents? Who birthed it? How's it connected? I'm not sure. But it's some kind of new assassin-style omen. We may see it as familiar to Mohg and Mohgwyn, just a 3rd new version. But yeah, that's everything I wanted to discuss and bring up today. All the new images and info we've been given since the story trailer dropped so far. I do have this sinking feeling that whatever that creator early showing or play session maybe, whatever it might have been, maybe it'll be revealed between the time I make this video and it gets released, but that's just the nature of these things. Again, have a look at Twitter or Reddit or whatever, maybe there's new information even beyond what I saw for today's video. For now, I've been Hollow, you've been you, thanks for watching.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.